Well, welcome. This is our annual AAUW Fund meeting. And, recently it's been brought to my attention that people are really fuzzy on what is AAUW Fund and how do we interface with it? What do we do? So I'm hoping that I can kind of eliminate some of the fuzziness about where we fit into the big picture of AAUW. So I just wanted to let you know that it's a national fund and it supports leadership, education, equity, and the greatest needs. And I'll get into that a little later. The objective is to support the mission statement of AAUW. And I on this slide, I did put the purpose of AAUW is to promote equity for all women and girls through advocacy, education, philanthropy, and research. And the key word there is philanthropy. So AAUW Fund is the group that obtains the funds to support the philanthropic portion of that mission statement. So we need to obviously go out there and raise money. So our funds are obtained via donations. There are national donations and then the local branch level donations, because really the funds come from the bottom up. At least that's kind of the way I've been looking at it. So there we are, the last little bullet there says local AAUW Del Mar-Leucadia AAUW Fund, and that's us. So just to kind of visualize all this, if you look in the middle of this Venn diagram, you'll see that there we are, this AAUW Fund Committee, and we have an annual fundraiser. So if you look over to the left, you'll see that there's national and there's state. So in the national AAUW Fund, they have 4 main projects that they fund. They have leadership, education, and economic security funds, which when a donation is made specifically to those funds, the money goes directly to those funds. But they have a 4th fund. It's called Greatest Needs Fund. And that is just an open-ended fund that allows them to actually, at national, to make the decision of what issue needs this money right now and immediately. And that's the Greatest Needs Fund. We also have some state projects, and I have a couple of slides. In fact, let me just kind of show you the national. On the national leadership, advancing women in leadership is an example of that. On education, they're focusing on removing the bias in education. Workplace and economic equity, which is fighting for fair pay and economic equity. And I know we talked a lot about this in our board meeting this morning, but this is going to be an issue and a focus for us in the future. And then the greatest needs, where I did say earlier that they decide where the donated funds are allocated. And on the state level, the AAUW California Fund has 2 major projects, and that's Tech Trek and Speech Trek. And I think most of the members are familiar with what they are, but on Tech Trek, it's STEM. So they have a STEM camp every year. And Speech Trek, which was a fairly recent addition. So these are the 2 major state level projects. And then what I want to do though is I want to talk a little bit about our branch. Well, how does all this come together? So if you look again in the middle, you see there's our committee. We did this fundraiser, which we will be talking about later this morning. But the circle on the right is our local branch. And our local branch supports local college scholarships, Tech Trek, Speech Trek, and the general fund. So Tech Trek and Speech Trek, that's where our money interfaces with the state projects. So for example, the state puts on Tech Trek, but we have to pay to send our girls to Tech Trek. The same thing, I think, with Speech Trek. But and then we have the general fund where we just determine where we're going to spend the money. The local college scholarships, and let me see if I've got that. I think I have a slide on that. Yeah, here we are. The Mar-Leucadia branch. So we do have the National Fund, Tech Trek, Speech Trek, college scholarships, and the general fund. So that's kind of a breakout of where our local money goes. So the main thing I wanted to portray with the Venn diagram is that where we intersect with national, you can see the little dollar symbols there in the green. That's where the money is going to go to fund those particular projects. On the right, where we intersect with our local branch, that's where the money is going to support all that. And I don't know if this kind of clarifies it, but I'm hoping that it makes it a little clearer. Michelle, I don't know if you want to chime in on that.
No, I'm looking at this, Sally. It's perfect.
Oh,
it is so, I mean, this is the best clarification that we've ever had. And we need to show this more to, you know, to our branch and everywhere, because it's really a great Venn diagram. I like that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So now, what I wanted to go into is, so now, of course, we finished our fundraiser, and what happened is last year we had this wonderful fundraiser, big event at the community center. I mean, it was such a fun thing to go to, and then all of a sudden this year we said, oh my goodness, now what are we going to do with COVID-19 constraints? And we put together a terrific committee, and the committee did all the research and selected a virtual auction. And of course, that was a big challenge. How in the world are we going to be doing all this? So after our speaker today, I'll be talking about the auction results, which was held from March 26th through April 5th. So we just closed the auction last week, and our committee, Bobby, of course, was part of the committee. And I mean, I don't know how any of them got any sleep in the last week, but anyway, we will be sharing those exciting auction results after Maria speaks today.